On this episode of Two Idiots, Lincoln and Patrick get a motorhome.
Yeah.
We're on our way. Okay, so here we are. We're driving along Clearwater River. We're just a few miles west of our little hometown of Orofino, Idaho. It's Highway 12 West, headed for Washington. We're going to be in Lewiston, Idaho first, in about 35-ish miles. And we're headed for Portland tonight. We have a car on the back on the trailer right now, and we're going to drop that off in Portland, and then we're going to spend the night there, and we're going to move on tomorrow morning and head down to Wairika, California to pick up a diesel pusher motorhome. So we're just going to document the whole trip. So we're on our way. Alright, so here we are in beautiful downtown Pomeroy, Washington. Some cool buildings here. Actually, I couldn't get the GoPro to power up in time. We actually passed some pretty cool stuff, some cars and things, a couple of buses, but we'll get that on the way back because yeah, we'll be coming back through this way.
But in the RV.
We'll be in an RV though.
Not just an RV, the pusher.
The pusher. So this is beautiful Pomeroy. It actually is a cool little town.
It is.
Yeah.
Minus the Washington
I like it here.
part.
I actually have a friend that lives here. I don't know where his house is. I've never been to it, but I know somebody that's what would they be? A Pomeranian? No, Pomeranian?
Pomeranians.
A Pomeranian.
That's where the dogs are from.
That's right.
Too.
This is where those dogs
Born
come
and
from.
bred.
Yep. So that's a little bit of history you guys didn't know before you watched this.
We're eco-boosting.
The EcoBoost is doing good. So we're in what year is this?
19.
So tell us what it is.
2019 Expedition. Pretty much all stock minus the turbos are upgraded a little bit. And it's pulling pretty good. We're pulling probably 7,500 pounds. And
yeah, and we just pulled a really big
real
grade.
good grade at
and it
62.
didn't care.
Never batted an eye. Doesn't care.
Yep.
Temperature didn't move. Boost gauge pegged. The 10-speed makes a big difference.
Yeah.
From my old Expedition was a 6-speed, and it pulled hard too. But this one just splitting gears is amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine that in a Power Stroke.
Oh, it would be so nice.
It would. Look at that old mill.
All right, the next little stop on the tour here, or actually we're not stopping, but the next place we're videoing, because it's other than that, all through here is just nothing but agricultural fields. This is the little town of Dayton, Washington. Let's see, there's a cool little place right as we come into town here on the left. That used to be an old gas station.
That's where our turn is, isn't it?
No, we
we're
go
staying
straight through
straight,
here.
straight.
Yeah, that's quite a ways to where that next little turn
That's
thing
where
is.
that little bar is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Here's the used cars place right
Yeah,
here.
the used cars place is coming up. There's some really neat old houses in this
Very
town. And then this used car place was like a service station from probably back in the 1920s. And then it was like some dude's used car place, and now it's like nothing. Have you ever been in this little hardware store up here on the right?
No,
Dingell's Hardware.
The brick building?
Yeah, it's
No, I haven't.
it's pretty cool. They have everything in there.
That's cool.
This is the old Liberty Theater. That was one of the things Dave Freiberger was filming.
Nice.
He knew kind of the history of that thing and what they're trying to do with it now. And then this is the hardware, I think. Did we pass it already?
No, it's right here.
It's right here, yeah. That place right there.
Yep, here's the Dingell's.
Oh yeah, Dingell's Hardware right there. That thrift store back there is really cool.
No drug.
Yeah, that's the True Value right there. That's a really cool. It's like an old hardware store. Still got a wooden floor in there and everything.
That's kind of like the hardware store in Cami Ice, the same way.
Yeah, exactly. I knew the people that owned that for the family that had that for over 100 years, and then they sold it just a couple years ago.
It's a long time.
Yeah, that was Haney's Hardware, H-O-E-N-E. that, you've now seen all of Dayton, Washington.
The rest is New Dayton. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Oh, I can't
And this is the town that I won't say what Lincoln just said.
I don't know. It's Waitsburg.
Waitsburg, that's right. Okay, but that's actually the town of Waitsburg up there.
And
we're gonna make a
skirting
left
it.
turn right
Skirting it.
here.
There's still
We're
some cool
on a
houses and
mission.
stuff, though.
Yeah, there's some cool houses up
that
here.
shed right there, that's 100 years old. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be that thing right there. And there's a old building up here that's got a brewery in it that has been there for several years and apparently is doing pretty well, because it seems like every time I go by there,
It's always busy.
It's always busy. Yeah,
Look at
there's
these
always
beautiful houses.
cars in there. Yeah,
Beautiful old
these houses are just so pretty. It's these
They're
little
100-year-old
towns.
houses.
Yeah, in these like farming communities, and look at that place. I mean, that's just as cool.
Look at that school. Look at this
house. Yeah, there's a big old schoolhouse over here.
Old school.
Yeah, so I can't really get that in
We can
the
get it
shot,
on the way
but
back.
Yeah, I can get it on
The RV.
yeah,
The coach.
tomorrow. Really neat houses. That house looks like the house that used to be kind of similar.
Look at the trim on it. It's amazing.
Oh, I know.
Like, you know, the trim we have today is just garbage
Yeah,
compared to that. Like
exactly.
somebody made that by hand.
I know. We got all this sawdust and stuff.
Yeah. Glue and sawdust.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. You know, you got something like that, just 100 years old, and it's still just beautiful as the day it was made. Definitely good job for keeping it that way. Look at that old house, too. That's a cool house. That's like asbestos tile, man.
Yeah, it is.
My old house had asbestos tile on it.
The house I grew up in had that on
Cover
it. All right, that was Waitsburg. And here's the little town of Dixie. There's the Dixie Elementary.
Used to be the high school. Here's the
There's an
brewery.
old store.
Yeah, the brewery's coming up.
Brewery's coming up. Yeah, this is the place with the
I think
brewery.
it's this next place.
Yeah, it's this next place up here. I thought it was in that last town. This is the brewery.
Yeah, it's right there.
And one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums is on right now.
Is the brewery in this town?
No, I think it is. I think we did pass it.
already
in that
passed
last
it.
one.
You can't really see it coming from this way. You see it a lot better going here.
Yeah. And that is the little town of Dixie, Washington.
Yep, the town before Walla Walla.
Yeah.
Walla Walla.
Before Walla Walla. Tucker's calling.
On that rock for years. You
So-
can imagine how long.
Now we're down in the Columbia River Gorge, so if you've never seen the Columbia River, that's exactly what it looks like right there.
Like a lake.
Like a lake, yeah. It's like a couple miles across that thing. And we get to look at all of this kind of scenery for a long ways here. It actually gets much nicer.
Yep. And that water right there was right up by our place a couple days ago.
Oh yeah, that's all of the steelhead and salmon that come up the Clearwater River up where we live. They all come up out of the ocean up the Columbia, and then up the Snake, and then up the Clearwater. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. And it's cool to just be able to take off and do a road trip on this. I didn't even know I was going anywhere when I woke up this morning. Now look at me.
57 miles to empty.
57 miles to empty.
And we've gone, it was 59 half a mile ago, and now it's 57. We might be screwed.
We might be screwed. So, but you know, we're smart. We don't believe in carrying spare tires. We carry a spare car.
Spare car.
Yeah. So if we run out of gas,
Everything's fine.
I'll probably stay here and take a nap, and Lincoln will go get gas.
Buy one of those
Buy a gas
$50 gas cans.
Yeah,
$100 gas cans.
$50 5-gallon gas. $50 2.5 gallon.
2 gallon, yeah.
Yeah, 2-gallon gas can.
Ah,
Yeah,
those
that's
guys,
exactly it.
They get you at the gas station.
They get you coming and going. I actually bought one of those the day that I bought the Jeep. It's a Yeah, I think it's a 2-gallon. The 2-gallon gas can, and I bought it at a gas station.
Welcome to Oregon.
Oh, we're in Oregon now. That's big news. So
The road is
I know it looks a lot different than it did.
Yeah, the
like
Columbia
back then.
River's a little dirtier
This,
here.
yeah, this isn't the good part of the Columbia. The good part of the Columbia is back there in Washington. And,
The better part.
Yeah, it's actually the better part. The really good part of the Columbia would be if it ran through Idaho.
Yeah.
The good part of the Columbia is the Snake, and the Clearwater.
That
That's
confluence is the best.
That's right. That confluence is the best. Way off miles.
Yeah. It looks like the biggest lake you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Over there's gas, somewhere over there.
somewhere over there. So yeah, we're not too worried.
Nah, we're fine.
We'll make it to our gas station.
No problem.
Yeah.
We got it
Yeah.
under control.
Yeah.
Or at least we think we do.
I know I'm not worried.
Yeah. No.
I have my bed with me.
Right?
So it
Clothes.
Doesn't matter if I'm like not moving or whatever. I can just like pull that seat back down there and I can sleep like a baby back there.
Yep. Yep. Look at how calm that water is.
I know. It looks like glass.
It's like
It's so
serene.
pretty.
All those ducks. Those mud hens or something.
Yeah, those are mud hens right there.
Some mud hens. Tasty little mud hens.
Tasty little mud hens. They're good.
I don't think
good
we can
for.
make a mud hen taste.
I don't
good.
think so
We
either.
tried.
But they're good for training dogs. I used to shoot them like bufflehead and those
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mud
they're
hens
just
and coots,
nasty.
and I just shoot those so that I could get the dog to retrieve them.
Yeah, and even then the dog didn't want it.
Yeah. I guess those things. I guess the way to cook them is to put them in a pot of water along with a rock, and you just keep boiling it until the rock gets soft, and you throw the bird away and eat the rock.
Probably better.
Yeah.
It literally tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
Gross.
It tastes like mud. There's every once in a while you'll see bighorn sheep up in these rocks up here too. Hopefully we can find some of that.
We gotta keep our eyes open.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
I'll keep my eyes on the road. A lot of birds out there.
How long has it been since you duck hunted?
How long's it been since what?
You went duck hunting?
Duck hunting?
Yeah.
I think the last time I went duck hunting was probably like 2018 or 2019 on my birthday with my friend David.
Oh yeah?
Yep. Yep. We're sitting out in a pond and shot one duck all day.
That's funny.
And it was a total like miracle shot. It was one of those things that it was like a single teal just buzzed us, and I just popped off a shot. Didn't even have the shotgun up to my shoulder.
Yeah.
And that thing fell right next to us, poof, right behind my stool, right
That's
there in the
funny.
tulies. I was like, man, and that was the only duck we got all day.
That's funny.
We put some miles on that day.
I took
Got
Kane
nowhere.
out on the Dorshak Reservoir when he was 12. We shot a bunch of goldeneye that day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We should do that
Yeah.
out of your new boat.
Yeah. We'll do that. I got all the decoys and everything. We can just.
I have decoys too.
Good?
Yeah, I just found them the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm still.
You got duck
we
calls?
moved somewhere.
I got all the calls.
somewhere.
I got all
I got
the
my
calls.
whistle and my
Yeah.
mallard. Yeah, exactly. That's the classic. Oh, fuel level low. It turned yellow.
Oh,
This
no.
is bad news.
We're in trouble.
Oh man.
Oh,
I'm gonna acknowledge that message. Acknowledging message.
Yeah. Oh, I just saw a fish jump up there.
Yeah, there's.
Stop for gas. Everything looks good. This is the car that's getting dropped off in Portland. This is my daughter Callie's car. Just did some work on. It needs to go away, so she's going to trade it in. And we're still probably about 3 hours from Portland where we're going to spend the night. And that's the old Fort Umatilla. I actually kind of screwed up and should have caught it earlier. It's a munitions storage site that was built in 1941 to store World War II munitions And then they eventually destroyed all of those munitions on that site too before the place was decommissioned. Some kind of little interesting history. I looked it up. I knew it was some kind of a munition site by all these bunkers that are out there. There's like thousands of them. And so I looked it up to see what it was, and that is indeed what it turned out to be. Umatilla Army Station.
Very cool. And then, I like Mark.
Mark Levin?
Yeah, Mark Levin's cool.
Me too.
Glenn Beck, too.
Oh, yeah.
He's funny.
He is funny. You got to listen to him on XM now. And we got pulled over. There was a couple plastic cups in the truck, and we were right next to the river, and we were running down the river with those cups to get water and
Trying to get all the fuel smell off of it.
Yeah. And we got it MacGyvered to where it
held.
only leaked a little bit, and
Pretty much held, though.
it drove the rest of the way. We made
All
it
the
to
way to
Lewiston
the-
and
to
the
that
rest of the
saw
way
shop.
home.
We
Yeah.
went to that saw shop and we got
So
some from that guy, that nice guy there.
Yep.
And he hooked us up and gave us some free zip ties.
That's
and,
exactly right.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in Idaho. I will say that.
For sure.
A lot of good people everywhere, but
Another kind of
definitely take note of the good
bridge.
people in Idaho.
Absolutely, and especially right where we live. We live up on a
Salt of the-
mountaintop, and
Salt of the earth.
everybody up there is like our family.
Yep.
And Lincoln and I are the problem solvers.
Try to be.
Yep.
Sometimes we create more problems.
We
than
create
solve.
problems too, but they always know where to look. They always know that we're going to be willing to help our neighbors out. We got a really cool setup up there.
We
and
do.
Our families are really close. Our wives love one another, and it just worked out really good. And it just was so funny. Lincoln and I met. It was before I retired, and I was working as an emergency room nurse. And Lincoln got a job at the hospital in the maintenance department, and the guys at the department came to me one day and said, "Hey, have you met Lincoln yet?" And I was like, "Who's Lincoln?" And they said, "Oh, it's the new guy we hired. You need to meet him. He's a car guy. You guys need to know one another." So a little while later, the guys brought him in to the ER to meet me and introduced us, and we only had a couple minutes to talk, and just the things that we talked about just in those first couple minutes, we realized we had a lot in common. And it wasn't a day or two, a shift or two that I worked later, and I came into work and there was no patients in the emergency room, and I had a lift that I had already bought for my shop, and I was getting ready to install it, and I had never installed a lift, so I was looking at YouTube videos, and I didn't even know he was behind me. And he walked up, I was sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden somebody says, "Are you thinking about getting a lift?" I turned around, and it was him. I said, "No, I've already got one. I just need to install it." And he said, "Oh, I can help you. I've installed a bunch of them. I just installed one in my shop recently." And I knew he had a shop, that he had built a shop and was going to be starting a business there. So I said, "Yeah, where is your shop anyway?" And he said, "Do you know where High Valley Road is?" And I live in the sticks. He said, "Do you know where High Valley Road is?" I said, "Dude, you're my neighbor."
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Right.
It's a good thing.
Yep.
We had
We literally threw a dart at the map and landed in the little town of Orofino by chance.
And he ended up being my neighbor. Who knew? That was meant to be.
Cheers to that. Huh?
Cheers to that, for sure.
Right.
And now
we just screw around and have fun. And
that's right.
you're fully retired, and I only work 6 days a week normally, so I'm retired at least once a week.
Yeah, one day a week.
Or if I want to go screw around a little bit, like on a day like today, you know.
What's the good thing about being self-employed? And then the other thing, the greatest thing about the shop over there is that the two guys that we were just talking about, Tucker and Jeremy, are just totally solid guys, man. And they are like our family.
Yep.
And we treat them that way.
Yep.
And they treat us that way.
Right.
But those guys are the guys that, as young as they are, Lincoln just went out there and got them squared away for the next 2 days, and Tucker's called us twice since we've been on the road, and they're back there in the shop kicking butt, because that's who they are.
Right, not even calling with a problem or anything, calling just to say, hey, we got this done. What do you want us to do? You want us to do this or this first? And it's like, you guys are great.
Yeah.
Both those guys deserve raises, and they're going to get it.
Yep. So we're just talking about that too. They don't even know about it. They'll probably have.
They'll know by the time this is posted.
By the time this is posted, they'll have the raises.
Yeah.
But yeah, two absolutely couldn't be. And here's the best part of that part of the story too, is that Lincoln's only had 2 guys work for him since he's opened that shop, and it's those 2 guys, and both of those guys came there and left. So Tucker was the first one, and he wasn't even there very long, and he left to go work with his dad in the woods, logging, and he was gone for a while.
About a year.
And then during that period of time, not long after Tucker left, then he hired Jeremy.
Right, met him through church.
Yep, and Jeremy was just this really squared away kid. Oh, is that the cops act? Cool.
It's not the cops.
And
not slowing down.
Yep. And so Jeremy just started doing a really great job, and what a knowledgeable kid, you know. I mean, he's been wrenching since he was in diapers, and he just really talented and really smart kid. And so he was working there, and everything was going really well. And then the day came when Lincoln came to me and said, "We're losing Jeremy. He got himself a all grown-up job and good benefits and everything, and
big bucks.
For a guy his age, yeah,
I encouraged him to go.
Yeah, well, I did too.
I'm not gonna
We
keep
both did, and I had a nice long talk with him and said, you know, the world's your oyster. We can't keep you down. You need to go.
You never do that to a guy.
How long was he gone? 4 months?
Yeah, about 4 months.
He came back.
He came back.
He didn't like working for
Yeah,
the
and then
man.
Tucker, same thing.
Yeah, Tucker came back too. So, so Jeremy left. Tucker ended up coming back. So he had a tech there again, and then Jeremy ended up coming back. And did those guys even know one another when
Nope.
Jeremy came back?
Nope.
So they didn't even know one another.
No,
They're
they
like
didn't.
best friends.
No,
now.
don't you remember when we were putting the motor in my Toyota, and Tucker was over there, and he helped us. No, we were pulling the motor out of the Mercedes, the donor car,
Their
for
donor
my
car.
Toyota.
Right.
And Tucker was there. And he needed to borrow something or do something. That was when he first started coming back around.
That's right.
And Jeremy, Matthew brought Jeremy up, and Jeremy walks in and he's like, "Oh, that's an OM 617," and I was like, "Yeah, like right on, like that's exactly what it is." And we're like, "Tell me more about it." And he just goes all off, and I show him, "Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this and this and this," and then honestly, like pretty much hired the kid on the spot, you know.
And I walked in the shop a day or two later, and it's like, oh, this is Jeremy.
Right? Yeah, and he had long hair then.
Yeah, he had a ponytail.
He was a hippie.
He was a hippie. But yeah, two great guys, and that's what makes it good for, you know, this deal came up for this coach. Lincoln's been looking for one, and man, this thing is sweet. And so he called me this morning and he said, "What are you doing for the next couple of days?" And I was like, "I don't know. What are you doing for the next couple of days?"
What are we doing?
Yeah, and and it just works out really, really well to be able to do that, and so to have those guys working at the shop that frees Lincoln up to be able to go, and I'm retired. Okay, yeah. So is this the John Day Dam?
I think so. Yeah, it's big.
Or this is actually
It says right there, Dalles.
Dalles, yeah, the Dalles. So we are entering the Dalles, Oregon.
Yeah, look at that. They got some horsepower.
And that's fish ladders right there on the end.
That's Army Corps, isn't it?
Yeah, Army Corps of Engineers.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, and they want to tear it out.
Yep.
Yeah, good luck with that. Better turn off your lights.
That's a big operation.
Yeah, that's serious. Oh yeah, look at that. They got water. They got water coming out of that powerhouse.
Yep.
Yep. That's something I'm very familiar with. Been in powerhouses my whole entire life.
Lincoln's dad was a powerhouse operator.
And my grandfather.
And his grandfather.
My dad was a powerhouse operator for 45 years, 44 years. You want to talk about some horsepower? That's it, right there, falling water.
That's another guy we got to get on video next time you're dad.
Oh, he's coming. Next week.
Next week?
Yeah, he's coming on the 23rd. He'll be here next Wednesday.
Lincoln's
and Thad.
Lincoln's dad is the ultimate resource for old school hot rod stuff.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, that
Volkswagen.
the car that we've been working on recently that I bought, we were trying to figure out what the hell was going on with the ignition system in that thing, and it got so bad we ended up getting his dad on the phone.
Yep, and he said, throw that junk away.
Yeah, throw that junk away, put an AGI in it.
It's like,
You'll never have a
it's kinda
problem
what I was
again.
thinking, but,
And that's exactly what we did. We took his advice.
yep.
So we get Lincoln's dad on video too. His
You
dad's
would.
epic.
You hook up one wire, you set the timing,
Yeah.
and forget it. And, I mean, you know, you get a little shocked in the process.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you ever get those AGI boots? Or were you still rocking the ones that I had?
Yeah, I'm still rocking the ones that we
They're
had.
fine.
Yeah. They're not. I gave those the Krusty the Crown seal of approval. They're not just good. They're good enough.
They're way good.
That's right.
I mean, they're custom made. So
They are custom made.
from 25-year-old stock that my dad had that he gave to me, and
Yeah.
who even knows where they came from.
And you know, the next morning Tracy said, "Where's the dish soap?"
Oh, yeah.
Said, I'll go out to the shop and get that. We had to use that.
That's
when
a
we were
secret.
making spark plug wires.
That's
Yeah.
the secret. Dawn dish soap.
Dawn
Wait,
dish soap.
Put a little Dawn dish soap on your spark plug wires, the boots slip right on.
Right on.
Like nothing. Easy way. A good friend of mine taught me that.
So we're getting ready to lose our sunlight.
I'm okay with that. Nice.
So this is the Dalles, Oregon. And this is actually from here on kind of down through the gorge. It's actually a really nice area right here. So, and you've got really nice areas on both sides of the Columbia River here. So, you're actually,
Very pretty.
yeah, when you get down around where we're going to be approaching like Hood River. Oh, here's one of the cruise line deals that runs up and down the Columbia or Snake.
That's a big
That's
boat.
a big boat.
American Harmony.
Pretty cool, man. Yeah.
That thing will hold some passengers.
Yeah. Tracy wants to do one of those.
I would like to do that too.
Yeah,
I would like
we
to
should
do
do
a
that.
cruise to like Alaska or something.
Yeah, she wants to do that too, an Alaska
Well,
cruise.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. So this is, coming down through here, this is the Dalles, and kind of the next one I think will be like Hood River, and
That's where we're gonna get some food.
some food there. And this is all a really kind of a neat area, and like down in the Hood River area, you've got Multnomah Falls on this side of the river and everything over here in Oregon. And then there's lots of places along the way down through here, not lots, but there are a few places down through here that you can actually cross the river and get over into Washington over there. And there's some
Pretty
little
much
cool
Oregon
towns.
on this side?
Yeah, Oregon and
Washington
Washington
on
over
that
there.
side?
So you got like Hood River on this side, and then on the other side from the Hood River area is like Camas and Washougal.
Camas.
Yeah,
Washougal,
Camas.
okay.
Yeah, Camas and Washougal.
Great motocross track there.
We have friends that live in Washougal, and Tracy and I spent like a couple nights in Camas 2 years ago on our anniversary, I think. And Camas is really cool. I want to stay there again. Camas is like,
You know, we should have filmed the crane building.
should have filmed what?
The crane building.
Oh yeah.
And Steve. That's another guy that needs to get on.
Yeah. So another guy. So we've got so we have another neighbor.
Great.
He actually, I live in the middle of the three of us. So
Yeah.
Lincoln's on one side of me and Steve's on the other side of me. And so our buddy Steve is a retired millwright, and this guy has everything, man. And he is a true brother. Like we hang out with this guy. If he needs help, he calls us up. Unfortunately, the poor guy had a building collapse. We got a bunch of snow up there about 6 weeks ago or so, 7 weeks ago, and his building collapsed and destroyed a bunch of his stuff, and some of it is heartbreaking. And we went up and helped him out with that. And but I mean, this is a talented man. He can make anything, fix anything. And he came over, and we just finished, like I said, Lincoln just finished up getting the mezzanine built in the shop, which was really important. So all the stuff that's being stored and everything can just go up there out of the way, and you've got the whole shop. And now the machine shop is pretty much set up under the mezzanine. And in order to be able to pick up engine blocks and engine heads and things like that, you have to have a crane And what we were using was a gantry crane on wheels, like I have in my shop.
Yeah.
And
Or our backs.
yeah, or our backs or whatever. But the gantry crane we could move around. But once the mezzanine was put in and all the machines got put under that gantry won't fit underneath that thing anymore. So we had to do a fixed crane. And between Lincoln, Steve, and myself, those guys did like most of the work a day ahead of when I showed up. And I got there when Steve was cutting the steel I-beam to go up and everything, and we got it all put together. It didn't work right. It was kind of binding itself up and everything, and I could see the disappointment on Lincoln's face, and he was like, well, that's all right, we'll figure it out and everything. Well, Steve and I took that a little more to heart, and the two of us went to work and came up with a plan B and what was going to cure our problem and things like that. So we went to work on it, and it only took us like another couple hours, I think, of tinkering with that, and then it worked.
Got the design just right.
Just right. And that thing works exactly like it's supposed to.
It works perfect.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's really cool. So the shop has come a long way. I wish I had been kind of documenting it as we went along, because it is, I mean, it's amazing.
I have some pictures from when it was first built and there was nothing in it. And then I have some pictures from earlier. We could put a
We
little
put some things
collage
together when we do
Yeah.
the shop tour
Yeah.
video, and so we'll put some still photos in there and stuff. But what's really cool is that I've been a part of that whole process along the way. I mean, I've been
past 3 years.
Yeah, for the past 3 years,
Yeah.
I've been at
Went
that
to work
shop.
for the hospital. You've been retired for 2 years.
No, I've been retired. Coming up on a year. I retired June 1st last year.
Yeah, I quit working there and started the shop 3 years.
That's 3 years ago. That's crazy.
I know.
That doesn't even seem possible.
No, make so many broken cars. Oh my gosh. It's funny. Somebody will ask me, "Oh yeah, don't you did this and this is my car," and I'm like, no. But I'll take your word for it. We better go look back in the computer and see. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I remember. Or you don't remember customers.
What's really
you remember
funny?
their car.
Oh yeah.
That's sad.
And well, we drive around town. As we were leaving town on this trip, it's like, oh yeah, I've worked on that truck.
Yeah, put a turbo on that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, done
yeah.
this one. Yeah, done that. Yep.
But there's so much that has happened in that shop, and it's come so far in this period of time, and it's been cool because I've been there for all of the transformation and everything, and it's funny because we'll have even our UPS guy shows up there, or other friends of ours show up, and
Takes his break there every single time.
yeah, and it's like the most common question that I get asked every time people show up. They're like, "Do you work here?" Like, well,
Yeah.
what was my answer the other day? I say, "Yeah, pro bono."
Yeah, pro bono. Yeah, I'm a volunteer.
I'm a
Strictly
volunteer. That's right. And so yeah, there's,
Hey, that expedition was telling too. Peace, brother.
and it's kind of funny because Lincoln will spend all day working on cars with Jeremy and Tucker, and I'll be over there like a couple different times throughout the day, and then Lincoln closes up the shop at 6 o'clock, and then we usually end up working on something in my shop until
screwing around.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine.
And then like trying to get a car running and driving around up on the mountain where we live, hoping we don't break down in the middle of the night. Yeah, we'll have to call Tucker.
Honestly, what the distributor swap took 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
Making the plug wires and
Yeah.
everything included, probably
shocking me.
2 hours.
Yeah. We got it running with the wrong spark plug wires on there.
When you have 60,000 volt coil,
We tried to set the timing.
Stuff
Lincoln had the light on it, and he said, "Yeah, turn the distributor a little bit, snap." And we had just been talking about that like an hour before, about when you get shocked in your fingernail aches for like an hour, and then it happened.
it's not like Magneto though. You want to play a dirty trick on something, you find yourself a Magneto. They're pretty hard to find.
Pretty hard to
Yeah,
find.
no, an airplane.
Yeah.
Airplane. Yeah.
Or charge up a condenser oil. Leave it sitting that way.
No, that's cruel.
That is cruel.
Right. Now we're getting into the woods.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to dive down this grade. This is the grade that the car that we're towing right now. My daughter was on her way from Portland over to where Lincoln and I live in Idaho, and this grade right here, when she was trying to come up in the other direction, this is what killed her car. And so I ended up coming the next morning and picking it up and bringing it back to the shop. we're getting ready to lose our light. We're gonna get down to the bottom of this grade here, and we'll be in Hood River, Oregon, and it is definitely time for food. Are you hungry, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Would you like a huge burger?
Probably a double one with bacon.
Yeah.
Some fries.
Yeah, thinking jalapeno.
12 miles.
Yeah, jalapenos on a burger.
No, there's a pretty good place.
Oh,
Burger place.
got several of them. Oh, look at this. This is cool.
It reminds me of like the Lion King.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
see like what's that monkey's name on there? Rafiki. You are the chosen one or whatever. You just see him up there on top.
He's the king. So we're gonna stop and get something to eat, and then motor our way the rest of the way to Portland. And
Start that video tomorrow.
yeah, we'll start up more video tomorrow.
All the sights.
All the sites.